Okay, and we're live.
Hello. My first live. I'm so excited to do this with you.
I am so excited to do this with you too, Emily. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I used to go live on Instagram all the time, but my first time live on YouTube, and it'll take me like, what's the vibe of YouTube lives? Can you explain that to me?
I think it's not as energetic as Instagram. It's low key. I think people go back afterwards and
Hmm.
watch the lives.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like here it's a little bit less pressure. I don't know. I guess I can't see comments. So maybe you are getting comments, but Instagram there's so many comments that I have a hard time just keeping up.
Oh, for sure. And I don't see any yet, but if I see any comments, I'll let you know.
Awesome. Let me make sure I okay, I'm good to go. So we were talking before this about the season and you mentioned you don't do a lot of merchant. Do you pick up any merchant orders on Amazon like through Christmas?
Yes, I do, especially for fast movers. My
Yeah.
main goal with merchant, well, what I try to stick to for merchant is if I could put it in a poly bag or a padded envelope, I'll ship it. Otherwise, I don't want to tape boxes all day.
Yeah. That's a good goal if you're like, especially if you're new stepping your feet into this, because I think shipping is really overwhelming for people. Like figuring out how much things cost is a big, you see something in the store and you're like, this will be profitable. And then you sell it and no, it's absolutely not profitable after shipping.
Totally. And I wanted to ask you actually, if someone wanted to get started selling on Amazon, what's the first tip that you would give them? Where would you tell them to start?
Yeah, I think I would say you need an account. You need to have an Amazon seller account and you have to apply for that. And Walmart's the same way, you have to apply. So that's always a good first step. And you don't have to bite the bullet to get like a professional account off the bat. But I think it is helpful and it's only $40 a month and you get a lot in return for that. But there's enough freebies on YouTube to get you kind of through the door on Amazon. Do not go spend $10,000 on something off the bat because I think for like I'm a hobby person. I like to start hobbies and then a month later I don't do them. So don't invest too much up front until you know because it's a big there's a lot to it, right? On Amazon. There's just a lot of moving factors. It's a huge financial investment. And so just making sure it's the right fit. I think on Instagram, you have the idea that it's easy. And so you think, oh, I'm just going to do it. And then you get into it and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't the right thing for me right now.
Oh, for sure. And I love that you said that. I feel like there is a misconception where people think selling anything online is easy, or if people are looking for the easy way out, you're not going to be successful. Because I've worked many corporate jobs in corporate America, and selling online is way harder than just having a 9 to 5. This is not the easy way out. Definitely not.
Yeah, it definitely is a different skill set that I think you can create it. You probably could. I think the skill set comes naturally for some people who can jump out of bed and they love to get some coffee and work all day. And it maybe you're not that person. Hey, Steven, I see you. Thanks for joining us. So it definitely is a different skill set that I think people, and that's why I think community can be so helpful in any reselling circles because if you don't have the skill set, you can lean on people who do and kind of motivate you to get up.
For sure, having a strong community is so important. And if anyone has any questions, please ask us. We're here to chat today. And I met Emily, Crazy Flippin' Mom, at ASD, and I hope to go back with her in a few months. Are you planning to go back?
Yes, I think so. So Prosper's happening at the same time. Have you heard of Prosper?
No, what is Prosper?
And it's similar, but I might go to that show this go around. So look it up. It's the same, but yeah, it's a little bit more. focused. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because I've never been, but I might switch it up this year. I'll let you know though. Hey, Luke.
Hi. Is Prosper also in Las Vegas?
It is. And it's ran by the same parent company. So I just have a lot of Amazon, like big time Amazon sellers who go to Prosper, and they are pushing me. Like it has a lot of content that's helpful. So I thought maybe this year to switch it up. I don't know, but ASC is a good one. If you're new to the Amazon space, most of these events cost hundreds to get in the door. I know Prosper has a price tag on it. So ASC is a good one because it's free and you're still like rubbing shoulders with the same people, Amazon sellers, but you have to show up with the mindset that you're going to connect with people. Otherwise, I do think you might walk away feeling like, was that worth it? What do you think?
I completely agree. I love a free event so then you can get the feel of it. Because before I went, I kept asking one of my friends, what's my game plan? What should I focus on while I'm there? And this is a friend who had been there several times. And he kept saying, you need to go check out the people who are selling closeouts. And I was so confused. I was thinking, what is a closeout? I didn't even know until I went to ASD. It didn't even register.
Yeah. They do offer a lot for a free event. I mean, they pack out the what is that, Civic Center? I don't know what I think it's Civic Center here where I live. A huge venue. They pack it out with vendors. So it's worthwhile to go. You'll probably meet some good vendors you can use.
I actually met the CEO of one of the top toy companies that was there. And I didn't even realize I was speaking with the CEO until afterwards.
Wow. So
I was,
was that a good
uh,
did you walk away with any relationships like connections for the future?
oh, for sure. I even met a vendor in the Starbucks line. He wasn't at the expo, but I noticed on his name tag he was from the same place that I'm from. And so I just struck up a conversation and he gave me his business card.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. And like we met because they have parties before and after, and we went to a party together, and it's so fun it was completely male dominated. So, but we made do.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's so fun to just be in a community like that in a bar, casual, talking to people who get it, other Amazon sellers. So that's really fun.
It was fun, and I love that you always have an entourage.
I do.
You brought an entourage. You brought the fun to that party, actually.
I love it. Who did I invite? Was it
Payoneer.
Payoneer? I invited the staff working at Payoneer. They were fun. They were really fun.
They really were. I want to do business with them just because how cool they were.
Yes, we'll have to tag them below. They were really fun to chat with, and they're always at ASD. So we'll have to do something with them in the future. That would be yeah. So you got to come to the next event, and then we'll do a meetup with Payoneer sponsoring or something.
Ooh, for sure.
Yeah. So you said for the holiday season, you don't focus on a lot of merchant. You do FBA. Does that mean do you RA, OA? What's your path to Amazon?
I used to tell people I do 50% RA, 30% OA, and 20% wholesale. But lately, I've been doing a lot more OA.
Nice. Good for you. What has been the best besides the time? What's like the best tips for switching from an RA to OA model?
I think just the experience. To me, it's so satisfying to be able to go anywhere and to get products that you can sell. When I was just sitting in front of the computer and clicking and ordering things, it's really nice for the boxes just to show up, but it wasn't giving me that like treasure hunt feeling, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I agree. I focus a lot on OA on the off season. I do a ton. I'm sorry, my kids are running upstairs, but I hope you can't hear them too much. On the off season, I focus on replenishables that are mostly OA. But I love this time of the year because it is a treasure hunt. It's like RA, you're in the store at night. Like I went this morning at 7:30 and I'll probably go tonight at like 8:30 when the store dies down. And I just like filling my cart, finding the treasure and fast flips of the RA merchant lifestyle. I love it. So this is my time to shine.
For sure, and I love that about you, and I love that you own it because I had someone ask me and they were like, "How do you make money on Amazon?" And there's so many different ways to source your products and to make money. It could be kind of confusing to someone that doesn't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And this person asked me, they were like, "Do you just buy clearance stuff and sell it?" And the way they said it, it kind of had a negative connotation. And at
Yeah.
first I was like, really? And so I was like, sometimes I do, right? But there's so many different ways. And I love that you own it because you're like, I buy lots of clearance items and I sell them everywhere. I sell them on Amazon and I buy them at Walmart sometimes and then I sell them back to Walmart, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, but we know that that clearance shopping is so limited. It's like discontinued. It's just so limited. So I have people ask me that a lot. They're like, "Oh, you're just buying clearance." No. I mean, the problem with clearance and discontinued is you're limited, on how much you can buy when it's available. You have to hunt all the time. And if I've been doing this for years, I'm worn out. After Q4, I have to have a solid break, and you need something that's a little bit more sustainable in this model, which is the OA wholesale method. So I think that's why a lot of people either drop off after so long because they can't sustain clearance hunting, or they jump into wholesale at some point. So that makes sense. But thank you. I do own it. I really love this. And I love that it's so easily accessible to everybody, especially like I was a stay-at-home mom. I almost said I am. I am. I loved being a stay-at-home mom, but my kids are in school. But I have 4 kids. So the fact that I can do this and still, maintain their crazy schedules is everything.
That is very incredible. It's almost like there's no excuses, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much available now with the internet. I was thinking recently because my parents are also hustlers. I realized as I got older, they would probably think that's a negative thing. So hopefully they don't watch this. But they're a little bit older, but they have always like been I just realized, sometimes when you're young, you don't see your parents in a bright light until you grow up, and then you're like, "Wow, they did that." And they made decisions without the use of internet and phones, and they, like, created sources of income. It's amazing. Now we have so much at our fingertips. Like, I love Facebook Marketplace. I made $150 there cash today. And I just think that's, yeah, every bit counts. And you do get in the Amazon space where it's monopoly money. Money is just wild numbers, but every bit counts. You have stuff today you can sell and turn and make profit and buy groceries, get coffee, whatever you need to do. So I love that part of this. But you're a hustler too. You do a lot.
Thank you. I do. I not only do I do Amazon FBA, but I also do Amazon influencer. Are you familiar with that?
A little bit. Tell me about it.
So you make video reviews for products.
Okay, and this must be the thing because I've been seeing a lot of ads about this. So tell me what that means.
So traditionally, you think of it as you're on the product page and you'll see a video, right, of whatever product you want to buy, say this water bottle. And traditionally, it was just people talking about the product, maybe showing their face and showing the product and then speaking. But I'm kind of doing it a little differently because I really don't want my face all over these Amazon listings.
Yeah.
So I will feature just the product and then I'll use AI to help generate the rest of the video and the voiceover.
You are wild, girl. You're always doing stuff that amazes me. That's amazing. So, if somebody's new like myself, what kind of return is it obviously is worth your time and you've created a way to sustain that. What's kind of the return payout you get from something like that?
It's insane. The ROI on it is so high because unlike Amazon FBA, you're not investing any money in this business. You're just investing your time. So if you have a lot of time and no capital, you could make maybe 10 videos a day and you could be making thousands of dollars a month on these videos. It adds up really quick. I almost like that business model more than Amazon FBA, but my main focus has been Amazon FBA.
That is wild. Can you send me a link to that after this?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I gotta try this out. That
And
is awesome.
that's what I love because once I started selling on Amazon, it opened my mind to all these other business opportunities.
Right. Right. And there is so much available. And I think you can really niche it down. And the problem with me is I jumped into this and I went so hard in the paint on Amazon and making money. And I think I just lost a little bit of spark. Because it is about making money. That's why we're doing this, but figuring out ways to free up your time to kind of niche it into something that you like doing is just as important. And there's so many ways you can go about it. There's no point doing it in a way that you hate. Because you can change it up. I know people who just focus on discontinued or just focus on clearance, or I really enjoy RA, OA. And so that's when I feel like there is a pressure to make it wholesale and go big, and that I'm resisting in my life because I still enjoy it. I still enjoy my life. It's at a pace that I can control. And I love that you're doing that. And I think that you're really money savvy too,
Thank
right?
you.
You're
Thank
always
you.
posting stuff, and I'm like, wow, like you really know your stuff. And I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm flattered.
So, how did you just come about your knowledge of money and all of it naturally? Like you're talking about taxes earlier on Instagram. And I think that's just something that's a little bit still I need to get my head around. Did you come about it naturally, or is this part of your like education, college?
That's a great question. So, when I started working in corporate America, I was working for a Fortune 250 company, and I quickly kept getting promoted. I was one of the top performers there, and I had all of these accounts, right? I had a 401k, I had an ESPP, Employee Stock Purchase Program, and I thought to myself, what are these things? I had no idea what they are, right? So, I took it upon myself to learn what all of these different accounts were, and then I learned how to manage that money within those accounts so I could grow it. And I was able to scale the money in those accounts to six-figure portfolios pretty quickly. But I didn't do it all by myself. I enlisted the help of very smart coworkers, people who were making a lot more money than me at the time, that were also doing the same thing. And my employer at the time was so gracious to offer tuition assistance. So I went back to school to learn all about this. And sometimes I hear people on the internet say, well, I don't know anything about personal finance because they don't teach that in schools. Well, maybe 10 years ago they didn't, but now they absolutely do.
Wow. So we're definitely aging ourselves out here saying stuff like that. But that's great that you took advantage of that. And I think that's something I am passionate about, and how Crazy Flippin' Mom was started was bringing awareness to other women, especially women, not just women. Like you have options, right? You don't have to go the traditional route, and you definitely don't have to go the MLM route, which in the Midwest, that's your options, right? Where I live in Iowa, there's and I'm not I buy from MLMs who my friends, so I'm not downing that, but you just very limited on what you can do. So I think Crazy Flippin' Mom in this community, and even just the reseller community, is about education. Like you're powerful, you can make powerful decisions, you have options available. And I love that so many people have jumped into the community and sharing so freely. Like not holding it back, not gatekeeping anything. I love, love, love that. Kudos to you.
Thank you. And you as well, Emily. I'm actually so impressed that you have your own app. Do you know a developer or what? What is the sauce?
Yeah, I had to pay the big bucks who helped me create it and put my personal touches on it. And it was a huge uh, undertaking that we were not financially looking back. We should have not financially done, but I just believed in it so much. I believed in we could create a safe space for people to learn how to do this and scale it in a better way than just how I was spending loads of time on Instagram. So yeah, we found somebody. It actually was crazy. We set up a meeting with a company and they followed me. They had already been following me on social media, so they already understood the community and what we were looking for, and so it was a great fit. But yeah, we built that out almost 3 years ago now, and so it's my fifth kid,
Aw.
truly. But you do Discord, and I think that's where I wish I could do Discord and understood it a little bit better. And you gave me that link, and I signed up and got as far as like the first page, and then I was like, I got to take a break from this.
It's overwhelming for sure.
It is, but I need to get on board.
I love it. My main thing, what I love about Discord is you can implement so much technology with monitors and bots and like crazy alerts. It's next level.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And it's definitely something that's also showing my age. Like my kids would be like, you need to just figure it out. Like I don't want to be the old person in the room who's not figuring technology out. So that's on my list. And
Absolutely.
I did have a question I asked on Instagram. Is that okay if I ask a question to the room? I don't know if anyone's
Yes.
here, but at least you and I can answer it, which was I asked if anyone had questions that I could bring here today. And a big one that was awesome was, how are you preparing for this Q4 peak season holiday? Has it changed from previous years? Like just preparing to manage the crazy. And I'm interested your response on this. Have you been through a peak season on Amazon yet? And if so, that question, is it changing for you in any way? Let me see if I have any other questions as well.
Yes, and I wanted to talk about bookkeeping too. For Q4, I think cash flow is king, right? Which can be really tricky to figure out.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. So, did you say you have gone through a peak season before?
Would you consider Easter a peak
It
season?
can be. It's wild, right? But
Very wild.
the Q4 Christmas rush. Have you been through a Q4 Christmas rush before?
No.
You're in for a treat. I'm so excited. I love this season.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, and I would say you hit the nail on the hammer. Wait, you hit did I say that right? You know what I mean. Cash flow. And last year we jumped on Walmart in December and we did fantastic, but it really took up our cash flow for Amazon and it divided us on between the two platforms. And we did grow, but I didn't walk away happy with the growth, with the chaoticness. And so we've really pulled back on Walmart for some big reasons, like that are notable and worthwhile and make sense. But I just didn't do as much on Amazon as I wanted to. And so we are adjusting this year. We are pulling back from Walmart because it does take over. Like the holiday season takes over. And we focus, like I said before, on merchant and hundreds of orders. And so we are trying to figure out how to streamline. And for the first time, I'm probably not like I need to do more than I've done in past. I want it to be achievable. Like I want us to not feel like we were so divided last year. I think I was just making poor business decisions because I didn't even have enough time to think. I was split up between the two platforms. And so, yeah, kind of adjusting that way to focus a little bit more on Amazon this season than we did last year, for sure.
That's awesome. Yes, you definitely have to prioritize. And I am so particular about how I spend my time because you could be running yourself in circles trying to get it all done, right?
Yes. And then you realize at the end, even though it may have looked like more money on the upfront, you kind of go back and think the time, the energy, all of that work, all of those hours, was that worth it? And that was, I think, the thing I walked away last year. Like, I don't know if that was worth it. So definitely trying to figure out how to spend your time best. And cash flow. That was where we were divided with Amazon because we weren't able to go hard on Amazon like we had previously. Because all of our money was tied up between both platforms. So we are really trying to figure out how that looks and works out. And we just moved as well. So it's all happening. It's always just all happening, right?
Yes, and I have an off-topic question for you because you said you're from Iowa.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Warren Buffett's house?
Yes. I drive by it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, he's always like in certain parts of Omaha. He definitely has his places he goes to have ice cream and to take friends who show up, but he has a very low key life, a very low key house. You would drive past it and be like, that's his house. But yeah, and he lives in Omaha, and that's about 10 minutes from my house. So he's a low key celebrity, I guess. Low key high.
He he is, and that's my man crush. For anyone that doesn't know, Warren Buffett is one of the greatest investors of all time. He's my man crush for sure.
I love, love, love that. Well, we have to do a meetup then in Omaha, so then I can take you to his house. We can do a drive
For
by.
sure. Absolutely.
That's so funny that you know that. I love that you know that.
That when I think of Omaha, I think of Warren Buffett.
Yep. Yeah, I mean there's some great money movers in this area. I think people don't realize that because it's the Midwest, it's Omaha. And most people think corn. Whenever I say Iowa, they're like immediately corn, cows. Yes, but we do have some good. That's why I loved reselling when I was on more eBay Poshmark reselling from Goodwill because people were donating the craziest stuff to Goodwill. So I don't think people realize like it's like some good finds.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So what else? What else about this Q4 season are you locking in before you get started?
I am trying to get my bookkeeping under wraps, which I
Yeah.
probably need your help with.
My help. Oh no, you're in trouble if you need my
Oh no.
Do you use a bookkeeper or do you do it all yourself?
I do it myself because I love to do stuff like that, but it's extremely time consuming.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not the one. We hire out help. It's that part of our business. I just think you can't do it all. I'm not saying that to you, but I'm saying that to myself even. You know, there's so many moving parts to this business and you're bound to not be good at one of those. And what we're not great at is the bookkeeping. So it's where we feel like money is well spent to get some help, to keep it organized, to keep it together. So yeah, before Q4, definitely get, and we do have in the Crazy Football Mom community, we have bookkeepers and tax preparers and all the time with tips just like how to do stuff because it can be tricky.
I am going to go read through all of those because, yeah, I'm torn because I love software and I love to incorporate that into my business.
Yeah,
But I also I like to do it myself so then I understand the process.
absolutely. And it is so key to understand your numbers on Amazon. Just on the other side of making money, sometimes you think you're making money and you're not because of the fees. And if you hand that off to somebody, you don't always realize your return on certain things. So it is really important to stay connected on that side. And I do have several people I could put you in contact with who I trust in the e-commerce space who understand e-commerce. Because that's the other thing. If you go to like a normal bookkeeper, they usually don't understand e-commerce, Amazon. So it can be tricky.
For sure. Absolutely.
I think for Q4, the cash flow is a huge question mark for us, just making sure we have enough cash flow to meet the demand and what we, because I hear all the time, I want to pull six figures this month and people don't actually have the cash flow to make that happen. Like it takes money to make money and you don't always think of that. You just think of making the money. But other than that, you like see the boxes in the back. That's just the practical side for us for this crazy season is making sure we have the product, like the poly bags and the tape and the labels that go into the season because once it starts getting crazy, we don't stop until January. So the practical side is just as important for us, which includes like having our spaces ready, making sure our people are informed on updated shipping policies because we do focus a lot on merchant.
And I admire that about you because sometimes I think I don't want to be bothered with fulfilling the orders myself, but there's tons of money to be made and you're leaving money on the table if you're not
Yeah.
fulfilling the orders, right? But one thing that I love about Amazon the most probably is the FBA program. And I'm so grateful for my husband because he does the majority of my prep for me.
Yeah, double grateful. Shout out to all the supportive partners out there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, and that I do love that too. You have options with Amazon. And I always every year I'm like, I'm gonna focus more on FBA. I'm gonna send in more FBA for Q4. But you're still like, it's that wasn't enough. Like I ran out. And so then you start picking up the merchant orders and it can just escalate pretty quickly, which I love. I will post on social media like, oh my God, I'm so worn out. But secretly I love it though.
What is your maximum orders that you've shipped out in one day? Because I've seen some crazy stuff from you.
We have probably topped out about 450 a day and 450 orders in a day. And at that point, we have to really evaluate if we can get it in by the check-in days. Like I would love to do more, but we have 3 people here who can fulfill orders with me. And so me being one of those people. So at some point though, you're like, can we get it to USPS by 5? So that's usually when we're like, okay, we'll kind of see about noon if they're still coming in. Sometimes we have to put the store on vacation because we're not sure if they keep coming in, if we could get them dropped off, and then you're in a bad place, not getting stuff checked in on time. But yeah, probably about 450 orders. So it's insane. It's insane. My kids help, everybody jumps in and helps.
I can't even imagine. That's madness, but that's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to top that this year. I love it. But then definitely come January, I'm like, don't talk to me for 2 weeks. And Christmas is weird for resellers then, right? Because if you have kids, they understand now this is probably I think my 4th Q4. They understand like the season is weird. I work all this time. They know that I make all my money in Q4. So they're on board. They're like, "Can we go to Disney? If you're gonna do really good, that's like their biggest question." But they understand Christmas looks really different for us because it is me and their dad working all the time, and then we have a break in January.
I didn't realize you were a Disney family. I'm actually dying to go to Disneyland. I've never been there.
Well, last summer we went for the first time. We had a meetup in Florida, like a reseller meetup, and it was the perfect excuse to go. And so now they're just like, we have to go back.
I love that, and I wanna come. Whatever meetup you're a part of, I'm coming to.
Okay. Yeah, Florida was one that when people are like, where are we going? Like, we want to be at the beach. Us Iowa people, landlocked, we're going to the beach. That was the best. And now they are like winter. First of all, my kids think they're celebrities because of this. They came to the meetup like, we're here. Not kidding you, but they loved it. And everyone brought their kids. We probably had about 30-ish people and 15 kids. It was awesome.
Wow.
So definitely very family friendly. Yeah, we'll have to plan one again.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So they definitely know, like, okay, if mom works hard in Q4 and we all pitch in, we're gonna have a bomb vacation.
That's
Yes.
awesome, and what a great role model you are for your children to see that.
Yeah, I love that it's something that you can invite your kids in on. It's can be kind of a family thing. And my husband left his job and works with me too. And I just love that they can be a part of it. And I think it's important for them to realize you can have 100 issues, but money doesn't have to be one of them. Like you just have so many resources available to you. My kids are constantly, if they want a new toy, great, sell some toys on Marketplace, create some income. And they are the hardest workers. My kids are always thinking of little businesses to do, things to sell. And I love, I just love that what that's hopefully creating for their adult life, which is you have options.
That's wonderful. I love that
And
you're empowering your children to think like that.
and you have a little guy, right? So he's not yet probably in the helping stage.
Yes, he just turned 5, so he's a little bit of a terror sometimes.
So probably not helping you ship yet.
Not
No.
yet.
No. Maybe one day.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of have to beg my kids to help. So, or they're like, "How much are you paying me?" They want to know the hourly rate before they commit.
Okay, children.
Yeah, it happens really fast, but crazy. My second son, he's definitely the natural hustler. That kid has more cash than most adults because he brings his stuff to school. He gets stuff at the pawn shop and he brings it to school to sell. And so it's in his DNA, definitely.
Do you want to laugh?
What'd
I
you
had a,
say?
do you want to laugh?
Okay.
When you were just speaking about your son, it reminded me of this. So I had a friend who was over our house for dinner, and we were talking about selling on Amazon, yada yada. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I need to clean out my garage for sure." And I thought that that was really funny that he equated selling on Amazon to cleaning out his garage because I was telling him like, "Oh, I sell new products. I don't sell used products. It's not like that."
Wow. Were you kind of like low key offended by that?
I was just a little taken back, but that's really funny because so many people have different assumptions about selling on Amazon because there are so many different ways to sell, right? And
Yeah.
I do know people who sell used books and used DVDs, but for me, absolutely not. No, not my thing. I tried it like a little bit, I dabbled, and I actually couldn't figure out how to read the buy box on the used products. And I got so frustrated. I was like, nope, because that's another thing. That's what drew me into Amazon. Looking at Keepa and the data reminded me of all the stock market charts I was doing technical analysis on.
Okay. So it just like made sense to you.
It did, but I feel like I'm just finally starting to understand how Keepa works and all of the data. It takes a while.
It does. It is learning a new language. That's what I tell people. Like, just commit to the process, start reading those charts. And like, there's so much good content on YouTube breaking it down and show because Keepa offers a lot. Like, we're all using it differently. So it's cool to just see somebody else pull it up and see how they're evaluating the chart and the different parts that they use. I love that. We're the nerds. I'm definitely like saying this, like, oh my God, I'm a nerd. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But it's actually incredible because people have asked me, well, how do you know what to sell on Amazon? And I tell them, well, I'll use a research tool, I'll check the data, I'll check the trends. And that's a huge part of it, right? We don't just buy random stuff and hope that it sells, cross our fingers. No, we're making an informed decision.
Right. And I think that's why so many people are not getting on Walmart because that is not readily available over there like it is on Amazon. But if you are on the edge, I always tell people Keepa works like if it's selling on Amazon and the chart is solid, it's going to cross over there to Walmart. So it's not like you're coming to Walmart with nothing. Amazon has tons of tools, tons of data. And if it is selling on Amazon, it's going to be selling on Walmart. So I tend to use the same Keep It charts on Amazon and just assume like, okay, it's moving here. It's TikTok is pushing the numbers, whatever it is. It's people are going to be looking for it over there as well.
Have you sold any like TikTok trendy products? Because I have.
Oh yeah. And don't you love that when a trend comes across your screen and you're like, yes, finally. Absolutely. I made so much money a couple years back on hot cocoa bombs when that was the full like trend across platforms. Oh my, I can't even tell you how much that hot cocoa bombs paid off for us, but loved it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, what trends have you sold?
Ooh, I'm chasing some beauty trends right now. And
Oh,
yeah, and so that makes me like look at everything different. And then I feel like a cool mom because I'm like, I know all the trends. I know like what the kids think are cool because of this, because I'm looking at all of the data and what everyone in the
yeah.
United States is buying.
Yeah. So would you say that's your niche on Amazon is beauty? What's your primary focus over there?
Ooh, absolutely not, actually. I don't do a lot of health in households. I do a little bit. I did love grocery for a while and I did really well, but since I like to do FBA predominantly, the expiration dates can be really tricky with grocery, right? It could be a tight turnaround
Yeah.
and something that I think people overlook sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what is my I love toys. I sell a lot of toys.
Really?
I
And are you
do.
looking like where I mean, if you are focusing on OA, maybe you have a spot you don't want to share, but do you have a certain website, like a normal store that you find the best for sourcing toys, or is it kind of just everything?
A little bit of everywhere. I think that's a winning combination. But I noticed if it's going to be something local to me, sometimes there's like these hidden gems, right? That is like maybe like a regional place.
Yes. That's such a great tip for new people. I love Walmart. I love sourcing Walmart, but Walmart's everywhere. So things can get tanked out pretty quick. Whereas what Melissa's saying, looking at something more regional to you, you kind of you might find products that aren't going to be tanked out as bad as Target and Walmart.
Yes, I love that. And just
Yeah.
something that gets overlooked.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I like toys. We're doing a lot of the seasonal stuff, but I like small investment products that I can kind of go all in on. And so I don't do a lot of toys for that reason because usually their price tag is a little bit higher. I love a good grocery item. And so maybe I'm spoiled because my average cost is like $3, $4. And so when you look, I sell toys for Q4 for Christmas, but typically not unless something is trending.
And I love what you said that you like a small investment item. I do too. Those high ROIs when you can buy something for under $5 and
Yeah.
sell it over 20.
Yeah. Another reason when you talk about wholesale that I'm like, "Really?" Because your margins are so slim and you definitely have to get used to hearing those numbers, and I'm not used to hearing those numbers yet, so I'm okay where I'm at.
I agree with you, and that's the reason why I haven't done more wholesale because of that. Because right now, the things that I'm selling, I have a really healthy profit margin and good ROI. I think to myself, do I want to give that up? But then sometimes you have to weigh like time, investment, weigh it all. But my husband, he is ready to move volumes because he has a lot of warehousing experience. We actually met when we both worked for a logistics company.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
and so he's like, "Let's just order volumes and move volumes. Let's pump it." And I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Chill out."
Yeah, that's I think it's nice to have somebody who's the other side of the coin with you, because they kind of see things at a different angle, and my husband is definitely, like he's such an amazing supporter of this lifestyle, thankfully, but he sees things at a different angle, and he would probably do well in the wholesale, which RAOA, he's like, absolutely not. I'm not going into a store to buy anything for you to sell online. Like that's so awkward for him. But he would probably really enjoy analyzing products wholesale and buying that side of it. He'd probably like that.
Yeah, and something that I like about wholesale is building those relationships, right? And it actually amazes me sometimes because I guess my corporate experience gives me the background to know how to talk to people. Sometimes when I hear other people talking in a professional setting, I roll my eyes a little bit.
Right. It wholesale's definitely built more on relationship. I would like that part of it for sure. And I think that's why I like ASD because you're seeing these people in person and it kind of takes away the fear that wholesale can give you that you're just out there on your own buying enormous amounts of product and then you see people face to face and you're like, "Okay, this is actually human. I can ask them questions. It's not so distant from me."
Yes. And I see some people who are trying to do wholesale and move volumes right out the gate. But I think a major downfall to that is they don't have any experience. So if something was to go wrong, they don't know how to react, right? Because they don't have that
Right.
time or that knowledge.
Absolutely. And even people will ask me, "How do you buy so much?" Well, like RAOA, how do you feel comfortable? Like time. Like I've been through this for years. So I have the past experience I'm drawing from. I can't imagine if I was, and so I always usually say, buy what you feel comfortable with because I can't imagine just month one jumping in and placing the same orders I am now. And you shouldn't like that's a maybe the small downside of community is you feel maybe the competitive urge to keep up and buy and you should buy what you feel comfortable with. Don't overextend yourself financially because Amazon is not going anywhere, so you don't have to treat it like it's this crazy money grab and just go all in quick because it is about longevity. You can relax, take your time to absorb and learn, make good, mindful, practical decisions for your business. You don't have to feel the urge to like put everything in the cart sort of thing. And I think that comes to wholesale as well. It is going to take time and money, patience, and you're going to have also have the money to make mistakes. So go slow, go at your own pace.
Yes, and I agree with you that some people get so competitive, but I notice the guys are way more competitive than the females. So I'm grateful to be a woman, but we are the minority, right? There's only like 10% of Amazon sellers are women.
Yes, yes, yes to all of that. Yeah, and I feel like I'm pretty competitive, but I think I've learned when I was deeper in the hustle, I just wasn't happy. You know, it's like, why am I working so much harder for what? Like, this is supposed to be working for me. But I can see, I mean, when we went to that meetup at ASD and it was all guys, like, wow, now I see why it's so competitive, like shoulder to shoulder testosterone. You're just,
For
yeah, it's
sure.
crazy.
It was crazy. That was wild.
And I think that maybe I'm wrong. I shouldn't paint with like a broad stroke on this, but because everybody's unique and different, but I think sometimes women are less emotionally connected to money. Maybe just it's less ingrained that that's the goal. And so we have at least for me, I'm not as emotionally connected. I can like step back from it and I'm not like that figure is not my identity. So if it goes down, write it out. It's okay. If it goes up, write it out. It's okay. Still make good decisions. And so maybe that's not a male or female thing. I shouldn't say that, but that might be part of it. Our identity hasn't been culturally so wrapped up in what our portfolio says. And so we can, make a little bit, I don't know. You know what I mean, though?
Absolutely. And I love that you said that. And that's a really good point I haven't heard anyone else discuss.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's both arguments could be made here, but I think maybe just especially once I got married, I realized that like, wow, if we didn't have a lot of money in the bank account, I could still be like, all right, let's just like write it out. It's okay. And I noticed that was definitely a difference in our relationship up front.
Oh, yeah.
But I definitely think in the hustle culture, men get a pass for hustling. Like if a man is out there grinding morning to night, sleeping at the warehouse, like, yes, go you. And women, if I post pictures how much I actually worked, I would definitely get mom shamed. So that's the other side to that conversation.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
with that said, I think that we're going to wrap up the stream because we have several people watching, but nobody's asking any questions.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't blab too much, but I appreciate the experience on YouTube. It was painless.
Oh, absolutely. This was great. I love our banter. And stay on, Emily, so we can chat really quick, but I'm just going to turn off the stream. And thank you for everyone who watched. Next time, please come with your questions and write in the chat so that we know you're here. But thank you again.
Thank you guys.